Saturday. It's too tiring to write. Too depressing. It's bad enough feeling like this without having to write about it. I'll tell you one thing, though. I'm sick of being hungry. It doesn't actually hurt anymore. It doesn't cause me any violent suffering. In fact, the physical pain is hardly worth mentioning. Hunger is a longing rather than a suffering. But it's there all the time, boring away deep inside me like a worm. I hate it. It's a hard feeling to describe. Think how it feels when you haven't eaten for a while. Think empty, the pit of your stomach, the back of your throat, dry and empty, thinking of yourself shrinking. Think 100 times worse. I don't think we can last much longer. I think of you. You and you. I think of you, comfortable in your nowhere, doing nothing, existing, reading this, killing me. I'm never getting out of here. Never going to burn you. I give you what you are. I think of you. Whatever it takes. Whenever it takes. Promises. Body. Air. Food. Water. Blood. Eternity. You think about that. Sunday. I ate some pages from the Bible. Stupid thing to do. Ripped them out, tore them into strips, chewed and swallowed them. They tasted papery, a bit inky. Not the greatest taste in the world, but as soon as the pages hit my stomach, my hunger exploded like you wouldn't believe. I started wolfing down more, stuffing the pages into my mouth, 2, 3, 4 at a time. And then the cramps set in. Stomach cramps. God, it hurt so much. I thought I was dying. Spent the rest of the day suffering. Sick. Diarrhea. Sick. Tip for the day. Never eat a Bible when you're starving to death. Monday. 8 o'clock. The lights come on. 9 o'clock. The lift comes down. I've gotten so used to it. I don't have to look at the clock. The hour is ingrained in my body. The sudden sterility of the lights, the silent click. Then, 60 minutes later, the metallic sound of the lift. Gadunk, gadunk. As dependable as the rising sun. So when the lift didn't come down this morning, it felt like the end of the world. Imagine how you'd feel if the sun didn't rise. Imagine that. The three of us gathered in the corridor. Maybe the clock's wrong, Fred suggested. The lift is the clock. He knew what I meant. We stared at the closed door. Solid metal, silvery dull. Maybe it's broken, Jenny said. Lifts are always breaking. My dad got stuck in one once. They had to wait for the fire brigade. I don't think he'll be calling the fire brigade. I looked at Fred. What do you think? Is it broken? How the hell should I know? We stood there for a while, just staring at the closed door, making the occasional comment. Maybe it'll come down later. Yeah. Doesn't really matter anyway. No. Of course, it does matter. The lift might be broken, and that could mean something, although I don't know what. Then again, it could be that he's just playing his stupid games again, giving us something to think about, shaking us up. Seems a bit pointless, though. I mean, compared to what he's already done and what he could do, it's a pretty crappy kind of game. Hardly worth the bother, really. On the other hand, and this is what really matters, it could mean that he's not up there anymore. Maybe he's gone. Just got fed up and left. Or he could be ill. Or he could just be pretending. Yeah, that's more like it. That's a good game. Playing possum. Playing dead. He makes us think that he's gone. And when we try something, boom! Ha! Fooled you all! Very funny. I'll have to think about that. Talk it over. First, though, I have to sleep. All this activity has tired me out. Standing up, walking, talking, writing. I'm exhausted. Slept for a few hours. I don't seem to dream anymore. Not that I remember anyway. It's about 10 o'clock at night now. The lift still hasn't come down. I'm so cold, I think my blood has frozen. We've talked about the possibilities. What does it mean to us if the lift is broken? What does it mean if it's not? What does it mean if he's gone? What does it mean if he's only pretending? There was a lot to talk about. Options, risks, outcomes, hopes, fears, maybes, optimism, pessimism, don't get too excitedism. It was hard work. 1, because we're all half dead and can't think clearly, and 2, because we all have to assume he's still up there, watching and listening. We used pens and paper to start with, but it was so time-consuming, so incredibly frustrating and tiring, that in the end we gave up. Instead, we covered ourselves in a tent of sheets and whispered to each other. There was a chance he'd gas us, or turn the water on, or the noise, but it was a chance worth taking. Nothing happened. We talked things through, from optimism to pessimism and back again. Finally, we settled on somewhere in the middle. We're going to wait. Fred was against it at first. He wants to know if he's still up there or not, one way or the other, right now. If he's not there, we can do something. Do it right now. We don't have time to wait. But what if he is still there? What have we got to lose? Our lives, I thought. All right, I said. Let's just give it another day. Why? We have to play to our strengths, I said. We're weak, drained, confused, starved, cold. The only thing we're fit for is waiting. We've spent the last 2 months doing nothing. We're good at it. He's not. Let's use what we've got. Then what? Then we do something. Fred looked at me, his eyes struggling to stay open. Okay, he said eventually. We both turned to check that it was okay with Jenny, but she was already asleep. Now I'm alone, with you, listening to the hum of the walls, and I'm beginning to doubt myself. I want to tell you something, but it's best if I don't. Let's just say I can see the end of something, the end of a trail of doubts, and it doesn't look good. I wish I had something to read apart from the Bible. I can't possibly read that. Anything else would do. Anything to take my mind off thinking. A dictionary would be good. Yeah, a dictionary. If I had the choice between a chocolate cake and a dictionary, well, obviously I'd take the cake, but I'd have to think about it. No, I wouldn't. I'd swap 1,000 dictionaries for a piece of stale cake. I would like a dictionary, though. A dictionary contains all the books ever written, and all the books that will ever be written. That's something, isn't it? The words aren't in the right order, of course, but it's still something. You know what else I'd like? A map of the world. I'd pin it on the wall. Then I'd know where everywhere was. It'd be right there on the wall. I'm off to think about zebras now. Question mark. The lights are out. I don't know what time it is. The clock stopped. It's 11:35 forever. I'm writing this in the light of a fire. Now we're starting down the trail of doubts. I was in the kitchen when it happened. Jenny was asleep. Fred was in the bathroom. I'd just washed my face, and I was peering at my reflection in the steel surface of the sink, trying to convince myself that I didn't actually look like that. That it was the plasticity of the sink as a mirror that was the problem, not me, or some such drivel. Some much plasticity? What's the matter with me? Why am I suddenly talking like a Charles Dickens character? Maybe I'm turning to Oliver Twist, desperate with hunger and reckless with misery. Please, sir, I want some more. Anyway, I was stooped over the sink. Everything was dull and deadly quiet, as it always is. Boring, airless, flat, white. Suddenly, I sensed something. I didn't know what it was. A vibration, perhaps. A shift in tone or pressure. A faint change in the unheard rhythm of the bunker. I don't know. Wherever it was, it didn't last long. A second, 2 at the most. And then the silence fell. Absolute silence. It sounded very loud for a moment, then incredibly quiet. I swear I could hear my blood running cold. The humming had stopped. That's what it was. The humming in the walls. Stopped. Gone. No power. I thought, shit, if there's no power. And that's when the lights went out. The kitchen was blacker than black. Lightless. Sightless. As I stood there staring into the dark, a vision came to me of the very first morning I woke up down here. I saw myself getting out of bed and groping my way to the door and out to the corridor, scared to death, touching the walls, scared of the dark, tapping my foot on the floor, scared of what I couldn't see. No clock, no hands, no sky, no sounds, just solid darkness and a low humming sound deep within the walls. And now even the humming was gone. I was nothing, existing in nothing. We shouldn't have waited, I said out loud. My voice was a foghorn. Shit. The next thing I did was possibly the stupidest thing I've ever done. After I'd stood there for a while, listening to Fred's distant shouts from the bathroom, "Hey! What's going on? Where's the light? Hey! Linus! Linus!" I suddenly realized that I was incredibly thirsty. I don't know why. Maybe it was the adrenaline or something, sucking out my precious fuel reserves. I really don't know. All I knew is that I had to have a drink, right now. Without thinking, I turned on the tap, let it run, and started feeling around in the dark for a cup. But I couldn't find one. I felt along the draining board, along the counter, then reached up to the cupboards. I started panicking. You know how the dark can make you panic over stupid little things? Well, that's my excuse. I was panicking. I wasn't thinking. My hands were clattering through the cupboards, finding plates and bowls, but still no cups. And all the time, the water was still streaming from the tap, splashing the sink, draining away down the plug hole. And then 3 things happened simultaneously. 1, my hand closed on a cup. 2, a thought flashed into my head, "Save the water!" And 3, the tap started coughing, spitting out the last of the few drops. No water, no plumbing, no water. Shit! No water? I dropped the cup, crashed around in the sink looking for the plug, stuck my hand over the plug hole, found the plug, dropped it, found it again, and stuck it in the plug hole. But by then, the water from the tap had dried up. The tap was silent. No hissing, no gurgling, no nothing. I groaned. I dried my hand on my shirt, groaned again, and put my hand in the sink, hoping for a touch of water. Please. There was just enough to dampen my palm. I need to rest now. More later. So there I am, in the kitchen, feeling dead and stupid, and disbelieving. From the other end of the bunker, I can hear Fred trying to flush the toilet. It brings a momentary smile to my face. He's always doing that, pumping away on the handle. Flush, flush, flush. Only this time, it sounds different. It sounds dry and empty. Waterless. Oh no. "Fred!" I call out. "Don't flush it! Fred!" But he's too busy trying to flush. He can't hear me. I start running out of the kitchen, racing through the darkness, and run straight into the open door. Whack! I'm vaguely aware of the initial shock, a cracking sound, a dull thud, and for the tiniest fraction of a second, I think, it's okay, I'm all right. I just ran into the door, that's all. It's not so bad. And then the truth kicks in with a blinding roar that sears through my head, and I stagger drunkenly to one side and fall to the door, clutching at my broken nose and moaning like a baby. Jesus Christ, it hurts. My head's on fire, my nose, my mouth, my teeth, hot blood and tears streaming down my face. "Fred!" I call again through bloody lips, and then I pass out. Next thing I know, Fred's standing over me with a burning cigarette lighter in his hand. Jenny is behind him. Their faces loom ghoulishly in the shadows of the flame. "What are you doing down there?" says Fred. "Bleeding," I tell him. "So that's it. We've got about a millimeter of water in the sink. No food, no plumbing, no light, no heat. No, we've got heat. We've got a fire going in my room. Can you hear it crackling? Burning wood, table legs, paper, nice and hot. Enough light to get to what we need to see. Now can we do something? Says Fred. We still don't know if he's gone. Of course he's fucking gone. The generator's packed in. The lift stopped. We've got a fire going. He wouldn't let us have a fire, would he? If he was still here, he would have put it out by now. Not necessarily. He could be... Fred slams his hand on the floor. He's gone, Linus. He's gone. Shit, man. What's the matter with you? He's gone. Why can't you see it? I look at Fred. I don't know. I suppose I'm just scared. He shakes his head. Angry, sad, kind. There's nothing to be scared of now. He's gone. Yeah. Believe it. He's gone. We're on our own. No one's watching us anymore. Now all we've got to do is get out. All we've got to do is get out. That was a few hours ago. Maybe more than a few hours. A day, 2 days, who knows? I think Fred's right. I think he's gone. We've poked at cameras, set light to them, spat at them. No reaction. He's gone. I don't know why I was so unwilling to accept it. Maybe I'm going mad, stir crazy. Maybe I don't want to leave. Maybe I've got so used to being down here that the idea of getting out is scarier than the idea of dying. Or maybe it's something else. Anyway, he's gone. Dead? Possibly. Car crash, illness, accident. Could be anything. He fell down some stairs, he got a fishbone stuck in his throat. He drank too much, fell over, broke his neck. Stuck his finger in a wall socket and zapped himself. These things happen, don't they? People die. Nothing happens. I mean, he's not likely to have many friends, is he? No one's going to miss him. No one's going to come calling. And wherever we are, it's bound to be somewhere remote. He could be lying dead upstairs for years before anyone finds him. Then again, I was right the first time. Maybe he's not dead. He's just gone. Got fed up with the whole thing. Got bored with it. Got in his car and drove off to create another hellhole somewhere else. It's possible. It's also irrelevant. We've been trying to get up for hours, days, and we haven't got anywhere at all. We've hit things, bashed things, burned things, ripped things, hammered things, screamed at things. Nothing. Nowhere. We've sat down in the firelight and talked about things. Nothing. We've virtually burned the kitchen to the ground. Useless. Worse than useless. We forgot about the fridge. I can't believe it. We forgot about the ice in the fridge. We sent light to the kitchen. God knows why. It seemed like a good idea at the time, nearly fried ourselves in the process, and all we did was burn up the kitchen, ice and all. Got hot, got sweaty, got dry and tired, got thirsty. We have half a cup of water left. No days, no nights, no dates, just times of sleep and non-sleep. The water's all gone. We lick condensation from the walls. Fred hammers at the lift door with whatever he can find. Saucepans, chair legs, bits of cooker. When they break, he finds something else. The door is barely scratched. Fred wipes sweat from his skin and sucks on the cloth. It's salt, I tell him. Salt. My speech is thick and slurred. It's just salt and stuff. It's no good. He sniffs and rubs his throat. His lips are blue. There's a bottle of cleaning stuff in the bathroom, he says. Bleach. It's liquid. Might be all right. We could do something. It's bleach. It'll kill you. He shrugs. Jenny lies still. Her skin is ashen gray, blotchy. I stare at the fire and think of zebras. Can't walk, can't get up, can't speak. Mouth is foul, tongue's as big as a mountain. Numb. Fred stopped hammering, Sits cross-legged on the floor with his head bowed like a Buddha in rags. Skin shrunk to his bones, eyes sunk inside his skull. It hurts to pee. Hurts to drink it. Everything hurts. Mountain, salt. I got it. Mountain, zebra. Dad's zebra. On top of a mountain, I saw a zebra eating some chips with his girlfriend named Debra. She didn't have salt. She didn't have sauce. She didn't have stripes because she was a horse. Hey, Dad, listen. I didn't mean anything, you know. I didn't mean to hurt you. Okay? I'm sorry. Fred's dead. Went to the bathroom and drank the bleach. Howled for an hour, then coughed up blood and died. So terrible. No words. We can't get his body out of the bathroom. Too big. Doesn't matter. We don't go in there. Jenny. I had another vision thing. I saw her. She's lying beside me on the floor. The fire's gone out. I can't get up to get any wood. I could burn you now. I could burn you now. I saw her a long time ago, looking up at the ceiling. Clear brown eyes. Soft, shiny hair. A curious little mouth. He's a bad man, isn't he? Looking up at the ceiling. You're a bad man, mister. A very bad man. She's a feather of bones. Long time. Days. A long way from everything. Floating. Sad. Cold. I wish things were different. I wish I was home. I wish Dad was sitting in his armchair with cigarettes and a glass of brandy, with a Wild West picture book in his lap, with Mum in the kitchen and the monkeys playing quietly on the CD player. I wish I was the little kid standing beside the chair, like a small ghost in blue flannelette pajamas, giving off a silent fragrance of orange squash and skin. I wish I was standing there with my hand cocked to one side, looking down at the pictures in the book. Pictures of cowboys, Buffalo Bill, Wild Bill Hickok, Wyatt Earp, Frank and Jesse James, Davy Crockett. He got a dog on his head. Dad looks at me, then looks back at the pictures of the handsome fellow in the buckskin breeches and the raccoon skin hat. That's Davy Crockett, he says. Doggett. Crockett. Davy Crockett. He was born on a mountaintop in Mississippi. Hang on, that's not right. Somethingist states, the land of the free. Dad sings quietly. Davy Crockett. I point at Davy Crockett's hat. Got a dog on his head. No, that's a raccoon. Raccoon. Dog. Raccoon. It's a bit like a dog. What dog? It's not a dog, Linus. It's a raccoon. Raccoon. Raccoon skin tail. See its stripy tail? It's past his bedtime, Mum says from the door. Raccoon dog, I say. Bear, fox. Dad sighs, sips his brandy, and turns the page. Come on, you, Mom says. It's time for bed. Jenny dies in my arms. Goes to sleep. Doesn't wake up. My tears taste of blood. Days. No light. Hours. Days. Years. Flesh and blood. Meat. Drink. That's all it is. Flesh and blood. It's all the same. Chicken, cow, pig equals 3. It's all just meat, flesh, food, energy. It's all the same. Turn the bad to good. We're all animals. Meat and drink. Your liquid eyes. So sorry. So hurting. Skinned dry. Please forgive me. No tears now. Too long. Sick. Don't care. The light tunnel. No. This is what I know. It doesn't hurt anymore. This is